got that X Factor.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2022 horror film X, a film that is directed and written by Ty West, and it stars Mia Goth, Jenny Ortega, Brittany Snow, Kid Cudi and Martin Henderson. Now the film is set in the late 70s and it focuses on this group of people that head out. They've hired like this barn on this farm to film an adult film called The Farmer's Daughter. They haven't told the owners, which is an elderly gentleman and his wife. So they proceed to get on with what they're doing out in this barn. They are discovered, and what they then find is that the farmer and his wife don't take too kindly to what is going on their property. Right, what are my thoughts on X? Well, this one has been getting quite a lot of buzz. I've seen quite a few positive reviews on this film. It's a film that I wasn't overly keen on seeing immediately when it first released. It just, I don't know, there are aspects of it just didn't really click with me. Don't get me wrong, I like slasher films, and essentially, if you don't know, this is a slasher film, really. I think that the unique thing about this film is the production values, in the sense of it's set in the 70s. It feels very authentic. It feels like it's been made in the 70s. The casting, I think, is really excellent for the characters in the film, as they genuinely feel like, you know, they are actors from the 70s. I mean, everything really does immerse you into the late 70s feel. I think they did a really fantastic job of that. One thing I do want to mention is Mia Goth, who plays a dual role in this film. She plays Maxine, one of the people who were participating in the film, and she also plays Pearl, I think it's Pearl she's called, who is the elderly woman, the wife of the elderly farmer, who ultimately turns out to be the antagonist of the film. Well, one of them. Remarkable performance. It's undeniable. I think she gives a fantastic performance, to the point where I knew very little about this film. I'd seen one trailer and I'd seen a few reviews, but no spoilers really or anything like that. Not that many. I just knew it was fairly well received, this film, but I didn't know that Mia Goth played this dual role until like researching it, sort of thing. And I'm like, wow, fantastic. It's fairly obvious when you watch the film to some degree, because this Pearl, this elderly woman, is like observing them and kind of reliving her youth through them in some ways, and she's very sexualized and very horny for an old lady, it has to be said. And I thought it was a really good performance by her, and she's easily the standout here in the film. Genuinely impressed me. But beyond that, I have to say I was quite disappointed with this film. You could argue a fairly unique setup, I suppose, in regards to setting it, you know, in regards to the pornographic industry and this sort of thing. It gives the film a little bit of an edge, I think you could probably argue. But when you get down to it, when it starts kicking off at about the halfway point, it's just a slasher film with a fairly unique premise, I suppose. But it is just that, a slasher film. Yes, it's fairly gory. The kills are very inventive for the most part. But it just comes down to characters being killed who, to be honest, you didn't particularly like anyway. None of these characters really are fleshed out in such a way, and this really bothers me in a lot of horror films, when they write characters in a way that you can't get behind them, you can't relate to them in some ways. For me, when it starts happening, when things start going wrong and deaths start happening, you know, it gets you more, for me, involved in the film and the story, because you don't want these characters or certain characters to get it. You don't want them to be in peril. You want them to survive and all this kind of stuff. So you get more invested in the film that you're watching. And I never really got that with this film, certainly with the majority of the characters. So yeah, it just became a generic slasher. And I'll be honest, there's aspects of this film I think are in fairly poor taste. They're a little bit cringy to watch. Now, I'm not a prude in any way, shape or form. I'm not talking about the obvious scenes in the film. You know, they're filming a porno. So there are a couple of scenes where they are, you know, they're showing that. That's fine. That would make sense in regards to the film that they're making. They're making a porno within this film, so that makes absolute sense. But there's a couple of other scenes in the film that are just a bit, bit skin crawl a little bit, and I'm sure that was the point. But it felt a little bit in poor taste to me. Some aspects of the film, maybe it's just me, but I think. I mean, they were heavily promoting this as the studio that brought us Hereditary and things like that, A24. And they do make good films, A24. But it doesn't mean every film they make is a masterpiece or, you know, really special or anything like that. And this one is certainly good. It's certainly above average. Great production value. Some obviously impressive direction going on and a couple of standout performances here. But beyond that, it is nothing but a fairly generic slasher film. So if you're not into slasher films, you're not going to enjoy this film. If you're looking to maybe watch a slasher film that might be something a little bit different, maybe this might be for you. But if you're hoping that this is going to be wholly original and, you know, pardon the pun, be the X factor in regards to a slasher film, then you might be a little bit disappointed. I certainly was. But that doesn't mean it's a bad film. But I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Nothing overly special, but certainly fairly decent. So thanks for watching. I'll be back with more reviews on the channel very, very soon.